to all the dispossessed youth of Africa, for perpetuation of communion with ancestral spirits through the fight for African freedom, and in the firm faith that the dead, the living, and the unborn will unite to build the destroyed shrines. Selah. Hello and welcome, beloveds, to another episode of Wake Up Africa. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode. I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving, or you're now acclimatizing to your own narrative, that you're going from level to level, from height to height, that you're going up that spiral staircase of your consciousness, because that's what it's all about. That's what this whole thing is about now, beloveds. The game is over. The distractions and all of that, they don't hold the same, stickiness that they had before. And you can tell that, that the world is rapidly moving into a new reality. But we have a say in this, beloveds. And there's so much that is being kept from us. And as long as we don't know, then we can't fully participate. And that's why I wanted to talk today. Because you see, I see a lot of people saying, Babylon is this, Lucifer is that. And I always say, I use code on this platform, beloveds. A word that will click in your mind so that we can just get these general concepts. If I was to sit here and explain, no, Babylon was an ancient kingdom, blah, 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 that was connected to us. We don't have time for all of that. And it's because we've all been schooled and cultured in basically the same thing. The whole system, the New World Order, they started implementing their things back in the day, in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And it was all about putting us on this same narrative, on this same paradigm, so that they could move us forward like sheep. So that's why I use those code words, because immediately it will click with whether you're in Africa, whether you're in Latin America, whether you're in the Caribbean. If I say Babylon, you'll get an idea that that's like the enemy of our soul. But I thought it was important to mention this one in particular, where, the church invented the devil, beloveds. They invented the devil, and the devil is at the root and at the foundation of their whole slave system, beloveds. Because they invented the devil and then they said, you look like the devil. You see that 666, that number of the beast? Guess who the beast is, beloveds? I and I. Although now we're moving to 999, it's like we're graduating, we're flipping that on ourselves. And maybe we started as nines, as a higher level, as a spiritual being first. And if you look at the 9, the way if we take the circle to be like the main soul, we were up there, elevated, living a spiritual life, connected to this physical, and they flipped us down to a 6, where the majority of our energy became rooted here on earth, but we're flipping back to a 9. But if you want this, there's this guy called Rashad Jamal. He does amazing lectures, so definitely Google him, YouTube him. He does amazing information. I think he talked about us becoming the 9 ether or something. I haven't watched the show, but I did see a lot of feedback from it in my emails. So, beloveds, they invented the devil to bind you. They created that so that, first of all, to get in our minds. Because remember, I've always said this, Christianity is a military weapon. It was a military weapon of invasion. And it's crazy. I saw this meme the other day that was saying, Black people will reject everything about slavery, will reject everything about colonialism, except the religion. We're ready to kill each other for that religion. And that shows you that that's where it's at. A religion that the slave master himself has abandoned, beloveds. He's gone deep into witchcraft. Like, witchcraft has become like the newest religion, this whole new age stuff. The thing that he's told you to despise is what he's using to control you. But he invented the devil for several reasons. But one was to make you the personification of that devil, tell you you're a sinner, and bring you from that 9 to that 6, that 666 beast, where you felt that you were this animal, you were this beast, you were on this level, and you were seeking to be a higher being, and that, remember how like the proliferation of the story that we came from apes, remember that? And then we found out it was actually the Mzungu that had those genes. But that narrative was so strong when I was growing up. That evolution. Who's the guy? I can't even remember. The guy that came up with that. Oh my gosh. That's so it shows you that I'm really leaving that narrative. But beloveds, like they got us good with that. But the deeper and more subtle reason to why they invented the devil is so that they could defile you. They could not even defile you, they could make you defile yourself, because you'd now see yourself like this sinner. You're in this world, you're this animal that's trying to be this spiritual being. And so you would partake in things because your defenses are already down and you already think you're on the level of those things. Let me explain, let me go deeper with this, beloveds. You see, it's always fascinated me that in the Agikoyo nation, the people of the mountain, the people of Mount Zion, we don't have words. We never had words for like rape, murder, incest, pedophilia. And it's not to say that those things didn't happen, but when they did, like bloodlines would be taken out. Anyone who was involved in that, plus their bloodline, like that was seen as an anomaly, beloveds. Plus their bloodline would literally be finished and removed, taken out, beloved, so that that did not enter the nation, so that that anomaly did not enter the nation. But we didn't have a lot of the words, like even stealing and all these things. I was being told a story by a good friend of mine about how, we never even had padlocks. Like the padlock became a thing that was invented by the Mzungu brought into our villages. And it's funny because they started doing raids on different shopping centers and things like that, and different shops. So people started putting padlocks on that and to prevent that. And then now that changed their minds, beloveds, because now everyone became suspicious. Everyone started putting padlocks on their doors. Everyone then started closing their doors, and it created. That's how Babylon penetrated us, beloveds, with this low-level narrative. They came from underneath, man. And they invented the devil so that you would defile your temple by participating in things that were lower than you, that really like robbed you of your life as a creator, beloveds. And you see, because if you defile your temple, then there's only a certain level of yourself that come in. Spiritually, you block off access to higher levels of reality because they just can't exist on this vibrational level. And so by inventing this character of the devil and demons and all these things, it showed an imbalance, beloveds. It's like they allowed those demonic spirits, if I can say that, to now enter the bloodline. It allowed people to be out of balance, and instead of seeking balance, people would indulge in certain principalities, envy, jealousy, deception, dominion, murder, rape, thinking they were doing something to other people when the whole time they were doing this to themselves and locking themselves out of heaven. That was the whole purpose. And it like locked Africa, it locked a nation. And I remember my great grandmother telling me, beloveds, that before Babylon came, they sent a spell. They sent a spell to our nations. You see, we invited them as guests, so they wrote down everything. All these explorers came and they would write down everything and send it back to their magicians. And they found that we were already those gods. We were already those highest beings. And so they had to lower us, beloveds, if they were ever to conquer us. Lower us to their level so that they could even penetrate and live and even coexist and take over, literally. And so they got you good. And now it's become, the reality has become so distorted, where people have literally indulge so much in those lower levels of themselves that were more for protection and defense. If you ever came across a situation where you needed to defend your life, that was what that flight, that fight or flight, because it's all about fear. But they made that so distorted that it created like a mental illness, beloveds, a distortion in the mind where people fully embodied what you can call, for everyone to understand, demons. People fully embodied their jealousy. They fully embodied their envy. They fully embodied this character of like practicing dark magic to take other people's powers. Like it got that corruption. It was a spiritual corruption that went so deep that families and nations and peoples became of that. And it's more like that came, that spirit came before the Mzungu even came, beloveds. The Mzungu was just like a bodysuit that was created to harbor those spirits, or, to be of a lower vibe where they could harbor those, because the melanated, they couldn't survive long in our bodysuits. Like that was the whole idea. And then, they also, some got enlightened, some got, some of our people went over to educate them, so it all became mixed up. Where now you had enlightened ones who had been civilized, etc., etc. But for us, it was to knock us off our throne. Because creating the devil and creating his minions and the demons and this whole thing, and I'll even talk about Lucifer, beloveds. Lucifer is even a whole other level, but creating that entire environment is what made us think it was okay to live like other races when we are part of the wheel of karma. We are part of that. We are living by a whole different set of rules. We don't get away with things like that. And neither do they. But we really don't. That karma means that will entrap us. Because you defile the temple and then you have to come back to heal that. And then you find a more corrupted world. So you defile the temple more and then you have to come back to it. And so people are stuck in this perpetual return. Because they think it's a devil and a demon outside of themselves that are entrapping them here. And they have become that. Like the thing has become so real. This energy and this vibration has become so real that people really do take on devils in our world, devils in our lives, devils in our families. They really do embody that in all its sense. Like that's how corrupted things have become. But it's all about us, beloveds. And the only way we get back is by stopping the defiling, clearing, cleansing, and raising ourselves up. They never thought it was possible, but we're doing it in our daily lives. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, tuko pamoja.